12 News at 10 with Mark Curtis and Caribe Divine starts now.
We begin tonight with this video capturing the terrifying moment that an Arizona man climbed out of a roller coaster as it reached its peak. Good evening and thanks so much for joining us for 12 News at 10. I'm Caribe Divine.
I'm Mark Curtis. Tonight, that man tells 12 News the safety bar unlatched just seconds into the ride, forcing him to make a split-second decision. Do I stay on or do I try to get off?
Yeah, it's pretty unimaginable. Tonight, 12 News journalist Gabriela Becerra explains what safety changes he's hoping to see.
That man tells me he's grateful to be alive and credits his quick thinking for possibly saving his life.
It shouldn't cost your life to have fun.
A fun birthday celebration at Castles and Coasters on Sunday afternoon.
Go-karts, we did the smaller roller coaster, we did the magic carpet.
Turned into a nightmare for one Valley family.
I think the worst part for me is having the kids there and knowing that it could have been one of them.
The man got onto Desert Storm, a double looping roller coaster with only a lap bar for protection.
The lap bars came down, mine clicked twice, so click, click, and I checked it, it was latched.
He says the operator didn't physically check the bars.
I pushed up on mine, she looked, she walked away.
Then the ride starts.
We start the climb, and you hear, the click of the chain of a normal roller coaster going up, click, 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 click.
And the unthinkable happens.
We get just about to the top, and I hear a click different from the click of the chain taking us up. And so I checked my lap bar one more time, and it released.
Video from the ground shows what happens next.
Well, I had mere seconds to act on whether I stayed on or got off.
The man climbs out of the moving roller coaster onto the catwalk.
I just started to climb down because I just wanted off of that.
He says the operator didn't notice what happened until he was on the ground.
She should have been watching that car, and when she saw me climbing out, she should have been able to hit an emergency release.
Arizona is one of 8 states that does not regulate its amusement parks, according to the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission. State law requires parks to have private or insurance companies inspect the rides annually.
Yeah, 100% needs to change. I think all amusement parks that basically, have people's lives in their hand need to be better regulated.
The man says he filed a report with the park, but was not given a copy.
I think the scariest part was the negligence on their part and just the absolute carelessness that they had throughout the entire thing.
I reached out to Castles and Coasters for comment on this incident, but did not get a response. In Phoenix, Gabriela Becerra, 12 News.
All right, Gabby, thanks. New at 10, Scottsdale police say former Arizona Coyote Paul Bissonnette was hospitalized after being assaulted by 6 men at a Valley restaurant. Police tell us it happened 7:30 last night at a Houston's near Scottsdale Road in McDonald when the group started arguing with management. When Bissonnette tried to step in to calm the situation, it actually escalated into a full-blown physical fight both inside and outside the restaurant. Bissonnette was taken to the hospital for treatment. The other 6 men were arrested. Bissonnette posted a video on social media tonight explaining what happened while also thanking first responders for quickly arriving on the scene.
A former Valley News anchor and her husband facing serious charges of fraud connected to COVID-19 relief funds made their first court appearance today. The Department of Justice says that Stephanie Hawkridge and Nathan Reese fabricated documents and received illegal kickbacks in the alleged scheme. 12 News journalist Chase Golightly joins us live in studio with the details. And Chase, just how much money are we talking about?
Well, Caribe, a federal report claims both received about $300 million from this alleged scheme. And now, 2 years after that report was released, they're now facing federal charges.
Former news anchor Stephanie Hawkridge and her husband, Nathan Reese, holding hands as they walk into a federal courtroom in Texas, both charged with COVID-19 relief fraud. They co-owned a company called Blue Acorn, a Scottsdale-based company created for the sole purpose of distributing PPP loans to small businesses. But this federal indictment claims they were fabricating documents for themselves and their business in order to get huge federal loans they weren't eligible for. It lists out several alleged instances of this happening, claiming Hawkridge and Reese coached workers on how to submit false PPP documents to get that money. In one case, they received $136,000 for a business that didn't even exist. It also claims Hawkridge and Reese charged borrowers illegal kickbacks based on how much money they received for the fraudulent loan. The indictment comes nearly 2 years after this scathing federal report from a House Select Subcommittee on the coronavirus crisis. It claims in 2021, Blue Acorn processed $12.5 billion worth of loans. Out of that, Blue Acorn received more than $1 billion in fees for processing the loans, with $300 million in profits going to its owners. The report found that Blue Acorn gave priority to high-dollar loans and told staff to ignore small business requests. When talking about those mom-and-pop shops, the committee released messages posted by Hawkridge to workers saying, quote, "Delete them. Who cares? We're not the first bank to decline borrowers who deserve to be funded." Another message by Hawkridge says, quote, "Closing these monster loans will get everyone paid." Both Hawkridge and Reese pleaded not guilty to charges of wire fraud and conspiracy to commit wire fraud.
Now, if Hawkridge and Reese are found guilty, they may see up to 20 years in prison for each count they're facing. We're live in the studio. Chase Golightly, 12 News.
Chase, thanks. New tonight, President-elect Trump says he'll impose new tariffs on goods coming into the U.S. from Mexico, Canada, and China on his first day in office. He says this is in response to the ongoing border crisis. In a post on social media, he said in part, "On January 20th, as one of my first of many executive orders, I'll sign all necessary documents to charge Mexico and Canada a 25% tariff on all products coming into the United States." The move could have a massive impact on Arizona, with the State Commerce Authority reporting that Mexico is Arizona's top trading partner. Trump went on to say that he plans to enact a 10% tariff on China on top of existing tariffs, with the goal of pressuring China to reduce its output of fentanyl.
Maricopa County has reported its first case of bird flu. The Arizona Department of Health says that it was detected within a backyard flock of poultry. That backyard is now under quarantine. Officials say that there is low risk to the public. This is Arizona's second outbreak after Pinal County reported an outbreak on a commercial farm earlier this month.
All right, let's talk weather with meteorologist Lindsay Riley. Linz, a warm start to the week. What does tomorrow look like?
Tomorrow, 81 degrees. We should be in the low to mid 70s this time of year. So warmer than average for sure. We'll see a fair amount of sunshine as well. Couple clouds out there, but overall windy though up in the high country. We're talking 30 to 35 mile-per-hour wind gusts. You can see the windy icons from Kingman up through the Grand Canyon into Flagstaff and Show Low. So that's where we're expecting the windiest conditions. We'll see a little bit of a breeze across the lower deserts, but it will be a dry Tuesday for the lower deserts. Here's a look at the mountains and the wind speeds noon to 4 p.m. That's when those wind speeds are going to peak up in northern Arizona. The valley, not quite as windy. Hour by hour tomorrow, we start off in the 50s rather than the 40s out the door. Scattered clouds, temperatures making their way up to 80 by the mid-afternoon, and dry across the lower deserts. Caribe.
All right, Lindsay, thank you. The man accused of murdering Mercedes Vega is officially back in Arizona to face his charges. Sincere Hayes was arrested by authorities in Tennessee and extradited to Arizona, charged with first-degree murder. But that's not the only charge he's facing. 12 News journalist Bianca Bono continues to cover this horrific case, and she joins us live in the newsroom. And Bianca, what other charges are we talking about?
Well, given the horrific nature of what happened to Mercedes Vega, it's not surprising to see other charges including kidnapping and auto theft. As this first suspect appears before a judge in Arizona for the first time, officials do say more arrests are coming.
You are here today on a Superior Court grand jury warrant.
It's a court appearance more than a year and a half in the making. 22-year-old Mercedes Vega was murdered in April of 2023, and this marks the first time a suspect accused of killing her has appeared before a judge in Arizona.
This crime is a crime of violence and resulted in a horrific death.
Court records show a grand jury indicted 22-year-old Sincere Hayes for first-degree murder on November 8th. And the suspect from Chattanooga, Tennessee, was arrested there 3 days later, extradited back to the Valley to face his alleged crimes.
There's strong evidence for this defendant's involvement.
Vega's parents say she was last seen in this surveillance video leaving her apartment in Tempe. They say shortly after this, she was kidnapped, tortured, and killed. Hours later, found inside of a burning car on the I-10 freeway near Tonopah. It's why Hayes' charges go beyond murder and also include kidnapping, armed robbery, and auto theft. The state proposing a $2 million cash bond. When asked his thoughts, Hayes responding, the only time he spoke during the 6-minute hearing.
When it comes to the bond and the amount of the bond, do you have anything to say about that?
I just feel like that's unconstitutional.
The judge siding with the state, setting his bond at $2 million cash only. Vega's parents tell 12 News he was a complete stranger to their daughter. So big questions still loom large. Questions about his motive and his accomplices.
This is an ongoing investigation that involves other individuals.
And during today's hearing, the prosecutor asked for the majority of records in this case to remain sealed because, again, this is still an active investigation, so we have not been able to see the evidence that was presented to the grand jury. Officials have been clear that more arrests are coming in this case, though it's unclear when that will happen. Vega's parents tell me today they are relieved Hayes is no longer on the streets, adding this fight is not over. This is just the beginning. We're live in the newsroom tonight. Bianca Bono, 12 News.
All right, Bianca, thank you.